Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. In today's lesson, we are going to explore some of the myths about becoming an entrepreneur. I want you to take a piece of paper and write down a single word, yes or no, only you should write. How many of you want to become an entrepreneur after completing your studies? Just put, if you want to become an entrepreneur, say yes. If you don't want to become an entrepreneur, say no. That's all. Nothing more than that. Normally, one would love to become an employee. Most of the people want to become an employee because they think it is safe. But let me tell you one thing. Nothing is safe. In fact, today we are in a globally competitive environment. There is no such thing as security. No job is permanent. About 20 years ago, 30 years ago, a person joined a company as a probationer and he was made permanent. Let's say that he started his job at an age of about 20, 21 years, 23 years. The next 35 years, until he attained the age of 58 years, which is the age of retirement in our country, it will be taken for granted that he is permanent. More so if he is working for a government organization. Permanent job. And so that was a temptation for most people to go for employment. Then, why is that? Many of us do not want to become an entrepreneur, self-employed. There are certain myths which we are going to explore, go into the details. Before I go into this video, let me explain some of the definitions. You write down this word myth. You know what is a myth? A traditional story, especially one concerning the early history of a people or explaining some natural or social phenomenon and typically involving supernatural beings or events, or a widely held but false belief or an idea. This is the definition, meaning of myth. Another definition is a widely held but false belief or an idea. This is myth. Write down another word called belief. Belief. What is belief? An acceptance that a statement is true or something exists. That is called a belief. So some of the myths of entrepreneurship we are going to discuss in today's lesson. Before I go into that, I wanted to take a look at this picture. I just browsed the website and got this image. There are totally 7 billion people in the world. 700 crores. 700 crores of people. In India, we have about 134 crores, next only to China. They have more population than us, maybe 150 crores. In these 7 billion people, that is 700 crores of people, you know how many are entrepreneurs? 400 million. That's about 40 crores. Just calculate the percentage of 40 crores over 700 crores. But of course, 700 crores includes older people beyond 60, people who are young, 1 year to 18 years. So I don't want you to rush to the conclusion that only 40 crores out of 700 crores are entrepreneurs. I'm only giving the statistics. 40 crores of people are entrepreneurs. Twice that amount are working in industries. You see, so for every one person who wants to start his own company, there are two people who are working. And 170 crores of people are in services, armed service or police service or military service, like that. You know, what is the unemployed people? 43 crores of people are unemployed. So 40 crores are employed, 43 people are unemployed. Just imagine, if these 43 crores of people start an employment opportunity for others, they become an entrepreneur. What will be the scenario like? I just collected these statistics to drive home a point that if not now, when are we going to become an entrepreneur? I also collected some statistics in India. About 134 crores of people is the population of India. In that, 5.8 crores are entrepreneurs. How much? 5.8 crores. In that 5.8 crores of entrepreneurs, 14% are women entrepreneurs. And they give employment to 1.3 crores of people. So just imagine what is the contribution of these people. That's what yesterday we were discussing about. Why entrepreneurship? These people give employment opportunity for others. I also saw one more statistics. Of late, more and more people want to become an entrepreneur. As per the statistics I found in the website, the number of people who say, within the next 3 years, I'm going to start my own enterprise, has gone up. In 2014, 7.7% of the people said they want to start their own industry within the next 3 years. In just 1 year, in 2015, 9.2% of the people say they want to start their own industry. Of course, this is a 5-year-old statistics. I'm sure now more people would love to start their own. The reason is why. Why is that? There is a jump. Because a couple of factors are there. This so-called security of employment is just a soap bubble now. Now in the COVID-19, look around. How many people have lost their employment? And of course, some business people also lost their employment. And business, no doubt about it. But this is a very peculiar situation. It happens once in 100 years there, we are told. So these are some of the statistics about the myths, or these are some of the statistics about the total population, in that what percentage of people want to be on their own. Now let us see some of the myths. As I said, myths are hard-held beliefs. We believe it is true, but it may not be true. Myth number one is starting a business is easy. Yes, starting a business is easy. You can take about 10,000 rupees in your pocket or 1,000 rupees in your pocket, go to the nearest wholesale market, buy some vegetables, come and start your own shop in front of your house. As simple as that. But that's not the type of business we're talking about. We are talking about something bigger than this. It is easy to start a business. True, it is easy to start a business. I want you to make a note of three words: maintain, sustain, retain. Maintain. For example, you start a vegetable market and you are making about 100 rupees profit per day. You have to maintain it. You have to sustain it. You have to retain your market share. So starting a business is not easy, because the maintain, retain, sustain, we have to look into it. So that's why as we proceed, maybe in the next couple of classes, we're going to see the process of how do you start a business is very, very important. The second myth is it takes a lot of money to finance a new business. The answer is yes and no. You may start a business with a modest capital. In fact, in a couple of classes ago, I was talking to you about the sachet shampoo packet, where the founder of Kevin Care, Mr. Ranganathan, started with an investment of only 15,000 rupees. So you may start something in a modest way and slowly build. If you read the autobiography of some of the successful entrepreneurs, you will also find the same thing happening there. So it may not be right to say that starting a business may call for having a lot of money at your disposal. The third myth is startups cannot be financed with debt. Debt means what? You borrow money. Tamil, you call it as kadan. It cannot be financed with debt. It is again a myth. Banks are willing to lend you money, but they will ask for a margin money. In fact, in the last couple of years, there has been so much emphasis to the Make in India that the government is encouraging entrepreneurship for the main reason that India is a liberalized country today, like any other country. I talked to you in one of my classes, LPG, liberalization, privatization, globalization. So banks are given a target. Every bank is given a target that they should encourage startup companies. And so you can start with a debt, but you should distinguish between two things. One is a debt, the other one is called equity. Equity is your own money. Let's say that I am running an organization with about 100 crores turnover. My own investment, let's say it is X rupees. And I want to expand. I want to start one more factory. It calls for another 10 crores. There are two ways. I can bring in more partners if it is a partnership business. I can bring in more shareholders if it is a private limited company. Or I can float a public limited company and float my shares and get equity. This is equity. Debt is going to the bank. So you need to look at it. What type of industry you are in? What is your own liquidity? and how you can start. So the myth that you don't you cannot start with a debt, it is not correct. Yes, you can go to the bank and ask for a debt. The fourth myth is banks do not lend money to startups. This is what I discussed just now. Banks and various government schemes have been implemented with the idea of providing finance to building entrepreneurs. Every state has got a government agency to help you with a project, to help you with the knowledge of running a business. They can give you the technical support. They can teach you how to do your business. Industrial development corporations, right? There are small scale industries promotion boards are there. You can go to the website to find out what are all the facilities available for the startup. In fact, in some of the states, they encourage new business people to come in and start, and they say, we will give you tax holidays, right? We will give you free land. We will finance your enterprise. All these things they say. In fact, today in India, states are competing with one another to attract more investment into their own state. So, banks do not lend money to startup is a myth. They are willing to give it to you, provided, of course, your project is viable, your project is sensible, it has a market. Yes, you have to make a presentation. The next myth is most entrepreneurs start business in attractive industries. It may not be true. There are unexplored areas. In fact, the case of Mahima Mehra is very, very interesting. They wanted to do a handmade paper, and after looking at various options for raw material, they found the elephant's dung has so much of fiber which can be converted into paper. Look at how it is. So it's not true that only attractive industries people invest. In fact, in one of the previous lessons, we were discussing about one of the functions of an entrepreneur is innovativeness. Couple of years ago, electricity was the only source of energy. Whether it is hydroelectric power or whether it is a windmill or whatever it is. Now look at the solar energy, which is becoming very popular these days. Look at in villages, the coal gas plants are becoming very popular. Couple of lessons ago, we were talking about the Mitty-Cool industry, where the mud pots that is the refrigerators made of mud can retain the vegetables for about 5 hours and 6 hours. So they are not attractive industries, right? So what is required is an exploration. In what way I can be different? The sixth myth is the growth of a startup depends upon entrepreneur's talent. So we may say, oh, that man has got talent, so he has started. No, it may not be true. Yes, of course, a person could have a talent and he can use that talent to start something on his own. But look at what happened in the turn of this century, 2000 years. The year 2000, Y2K. Y2K is year 2000, where the computer industry developed. Because the industry flourished, because of the industry flourishing, some people will come in. Today, for example, the hygiene industry, the hand sanitizers industry, or the health industry, it is opening up new opportunities for new products. Take, for example, the online classes. It is opening up a new area to be exploited. Companies which offered online tuitions have become all of a sudden very busy because of social distancing. So wait for opportunity, look for opportunities. That's why in one of the lessons I talked about an entrepreneur looks beyond today and sees what is likely to happen. The last but not the least, most of the enterprises are successful financially. As I said some time back, we may see an entrepreneur coming in maybe a costly car, or we may see them traveling in a executive class. It's not an easy way. It's not that all of a sudden they become so rich. It's very, very difficult. You take it the first couple of years, they will not earn more than what they would have got as an employee. In fact, many of them will be struggling, and that is the reason many of the entrepreneurs leave the entrepreneurship and go back to employment to break even. For example, let me give a simple example. A driver who is working for somebody may one day want to start his own travel services. He may buy a taxi. At the time of his employment, maybe he was paid about 25,000 rupees salary. As a owner come driver, to make the 25,000 rupees per month, he may take several years because he has to repay the money to the bank, maintenance charges. All of a sudden, the car may break down. Somebody may come and hit the car. He has to send it for servicing. Couple of days he may not be able to go for the trips. So these are some of the myths. Of course, they are not the only myths. Another myth I've heard about is entrepreneurs do not have a private life. They are always working. It all depends upon how you manage your time. So in this episode, we saw some of the myths of entrepreneurship. But it all depends upon, are you looking at the life as in a positive point of view or a negative point of view? If you are afraid, if you are always pessimistic that my entrepreneurship will fail or my enterprise will fail, I may not be able to make profit. No, there is what is called a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you constantly say something to yourself, it will happen. On the other hand, you say, I'm going to be successful. I have the intelligence to be on my own. I may fail, but ultimately I will succeed. As I said, it's just not that you get up all of a sudden one day and you become an entrepreneur. Yes, you have to be very, very systematic. That's why we are going through these lessons very, very systematically. So write down in your own words, about 100 words, what are the myths you think about entrepreneurship, about the risk of starting your own business. Now, the other side of the paper, you write down how the myth could be wrong. See you in the next class.